Boom. We are live. What's going on, everybody? This is Case Study QB, and we are the Political Junkies back at it. And we got our wonderful guest, Imani Oakley. And I'm going to just introduce her. We did a great interview on Progressive War Room where we talk strategy. And I definitely had to bring her onto the show so that we could get some more get more of her background and more of her political perspective. She's a great progressive from the Progressive Democrats of New Jersey. And go ahead, Imani, say hi to the people.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Imani Oakley, North Jersey Director for Progressive Democrats of New Jersey, and I'm happy to be back.
Awesome. We're so happy to have you. And I want to introduce, of course, my guys, Carlito, John, Izzy, and Gabe is not going to be with us today, but we're going to have some fun and with Imani, and we're definitely going to do our trivia. Now it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be just throwing out the questions, and John is going to take down a tally of who's winning, but definitely in the chat, definitely participate and let us know what your score is at the end of the round. All right. So let's go right into it. But Carlito, you got anything to say? I know you want to talk about your Hawks.
Man, always, but I'm not gonna do too much this time, man. All I gotta want to tell you guys, the NBA season is starting. Big fanatic. If you don't see me on the show, it's because I'm gonna be at a Hawks game next season because I'm not going this year. Sorry.
Yeah. But that reminds me though to let everyone know that this is going to be the last show for the year, and we're going to be coming back next year stronger. And I'm hoping to have a different layout and to continue to do some new things with you guys. So we're looking forward to that. Now, I definitely want to give a PSA to the normal people. Here we go. Hello, somebody. I just want to give another shout out. We did it last week. We're doing it again. Nina Turner. You know, when you get a chance, go to her site, ninaturner.com, throw some coins, and we want to get her as I don't even consider her a squad member. Like, she's in a league by herself that she's just going to go in there and set the place on fire. We're looking forward to some big things going on. And also I want to give a shout out to Voters Choice NJ, which is we're trying to bring ranked choice voting to New Jersey. And then again, Progressive Democrats of New Jersey, which Imani's representing. They're another great progressive organization in New Jersey that if you live in New Jersey, this is not only the show for you, but these are the organizations that I want you to look up and hopefully you can be a part of. All right. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to do a round of the political trivia. So let me go ahead and bring that up. Give me 1 minute as I could find that. Wow. I was not ready for that. But you know what? While I get that started, Imani, tell us a little bit about Progressive Democrats of New Jersey, please. And also, we have our guy, Jason Cashew, who's running for state senate of New Jersey. So give us a little bit about that. Go ahead.
No. So Progressive Democrats of New Jersey is an organization that was started with a group of really young, diverse progressives in the state who were basically just tired of the same kind of routine, right? Like, you know, you have your establishment Democrat run, they get a bunch of money, they get a bunch of resources, they get a bunch of stuff. And you have your lowly, like, progressive trying to like fight the good fight and run against them, but they don't have any resources, they don't have any training, and they're kind of just doing it off of like a dollar and a dream. And so we wanted to start an organization in New Jersey where we could run full throttle, like real solid progressives for office here in Jersey. And give them resources, give them help, give them staff, help give them comms help give them field help, you know, all the help that you would really need to support a full fledged campaign. We want to do that with this organization and build it to that level. The other thing that we do that we spend quite a bit of time on is trying to get rid of New Jersey's corrupt ballot design system. For those of you that don't know, New Jersey has the most corrupt ballot design in the entire country. And that's like not hyperbole, like literally we are the only state who has our ballot design. We have what's called a ballot line, where all the establishment folks put all of their people in one column and they scatter the progressives in random places across the rest of the ballot. And what this does is it contributes to major voter deception. So voters look at that and they say, oh, well, the serious Democrats must be in this column. So I'll vote straight down this one. When really, you know, the Democrat they might want to vote for is somewhere else on the ballot, sometimes in what we call ballot Siberia. Perfect example of this was when Joe Biden got the line and every establishment person in New Jersey was under Joe Biden, and Bernie, somebody that a significant amount of people believe in and wanted to vote for, was random by himself somewhere at the bottom or off to the side in the column. And what this does is it gives establishment Democrats at minimum, right? I want to emphasize that at minimum 35 percentage points more just for being in that column. That's without campaigning, that's without raising money, that's without anything, an automatic 35%. Which, to put that into perspective, in any other state and in any other place, if you beat a candidate by 35%, you slaughtered them. Like that's like you blew them out the water. If you beat a candidate by that much.
Yep, totally.
And in New Jersey, that's where the establishment Dems start. So we at PDNJ are fighting to get rid of the ballot line, and we currently have a lawsuit to claim and win that the ballot line is actually unconstitutional because it violates voters' rights. And you know, we're actually running our first candidate. He announced last week. That's Jason Crushew, who Case was just talking about. He is running for the state Senate in LD20 in New Jersey, so that's Union County, and he's going to win. I mean, we're hitting the ground running. We're not playing. So, like when we said we were going to run real, true progressives and blow this thing out the water, we weren't kidding. And Jason's our first one out the gate, so really excited about that. You can follow him at Jason for Senate on Twitter. You can also find him on Facebook under Jason F. Crushew. You can also go to his website, jasonforsenate.com. And please donate, follow, share his stuff. We got to get him in office.
Awesome. Man, I'm so excited for him because I interviewed him as well. And he's such a great guy. And I'm looking forward to seeing where he goes. And hopefully we can get him far in this Senate race, in this state Senate race. All right, let's go to the first round. All right, Political Junkies 21. The first question is, boom. Pro-Israel progressive Richie Torres says he won't join AOC's squad. But he said, like it says, he's a progressive. So is this true or is this false? Carlito.
True.
True. Imani?
True.
True.
Said that, yep.
Izzy?
True.
All right. Everybody says true. Everybody is correct. Look, there it is.
See, Imani, she was too quick and too
I thought
sure.
it was first come, first serve.
She was so sure with it.
First gets the point.
We know the minute that
sure.
we know the minute New York Times or was it New York Post, one of them endorse you, you know you're not a progressive. That guy is not a progressive.
Yeah. We think something's sketchy about him, even though he claims he's for Medicare for all. Something's always been off for me and for us about this guy. All right, let's go on to the next one. So Charlemagne the God said Mayor Pete told him, as long as you serve the people, you can take corporate money, and he agreed with it. Is that true or false?
True.
True. Everybody said true. Now, I just found out before that I think the sound, you guys still can't hear the sound, right? Can't hear the sound, right? Yeah, that's all right. But you are absolutely correct that is true. That he is not, he agreed with Mayor Pete that, as long as you serve the people, you can take as much corporate money or PAC money as you want, and as long as you don't do what they say, but we know better. I think we know better. Imani, what you think about that?
Oh yeah, definitely know better. I mean, even if that were the case, why take it?
Yeah,
I mean, that it just presents the question: why take it? If you can serve the people with or without it, then why just not give the people peace of mind and not take that money? I mean, that's obvious, and it's more word soup.
100%.
It's like you really have to live your values. You can't say you're a progressive or progressive cosplay, as I like to call it.
Totally. Let me try one more thing. I just tried something. Can you hear it?
No.
Still can't hear. All right.
Let's not do this week, man.
Yeah, let's not do it this week. I was trying to one more time. All right, next question. Boom. So that was true. All right, here we go. Goya CEO names Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Employee of the Month. Is this true or is it false?
True.
False.
True.
All right, so everybody record what you had because this is the first time that we have some differences. I think John said false. Izzy, what did you say?
Me and John are saying false.
False. Okay, so the answer is
Wait, Imani didn't get.
No, yeah, that's a false.
no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it is true. It is true. Goya did make AOC, and this is the reason why. Because apparently, even though I think she said that she wasn't boycotting Goya, but she was showing a different way to, or a homemade way of making adobo, that their prices went up, or the amount of money they were making, their profits went up. So Goya wanted to be funny, tongue-in-cheeky kind of thing to name her Employee of the Month. So that's where
Yeah,
that
their
came
profit
from.
went up because like all the Trump supporter went and bought Goya without even know what to do with it.
Exactly. Without knowing what to do with it.
That's not gonna last though, man. That's not gonna last. They're gonna jump to
Why
the
you gotta
thing.
get tahine and get Lowry's. You just gotta do away with it. Get the other ones, Lowry's and tahine. You don't
Oh,
need
those
Goya.
are some other brands? Okay. There you
You don't need
go.
that.
There you go.
You know, Larry's. I'm taking your black
Yeah,
card.
okay.
I'm taking your
it's
black
better.
card, son.
Better.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Did Joe Concha, a Fox News contributor, write an article in The Hill called "Why AOC Should Be the Next to Lead the DNC"? True. John says true. Izzy says true. Imani?
I'm gonna go false.
False. Carlito?
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say false.
False. The answer is true. It is true. And there it is in The Hill. He wrote this article, "Why AOC Should Be the Next Lead to Lead the DNC." Now I think it's kind of this is the second time you read that article. Okay, this is the second time that I saw that Fox News, somebody on Fox or somebody part of Fox was trying to say, "Oh yeah, AOC should run." Like it just, I don't know. It seems like they're trying to bait her into doing something that maybe they'll get on her later on for doing. So who knows? Who knows what the? Yeah, I just said no. Who knows what the political background? What they trying to strategize behind it? What do you think, Imani?
I would go on the other side of they're definitely baiting or hoping to get some type of sound bite that they can play over and over and over and blame her for whatever they're because it's Tuesday. So I definitely think that's probably what that's about. They probably don't even know enough about the process to make that claim even seriously. So I think it's definitely just for show.
All right, we're going to jump to the next question. So AOC gives praises to Amazon for their quality of their warehouse jobs. For the quality of their warehouse jobs. Is that true or false?
Better be false.
False. True. Okay. John put true. Carlito?
Come on, son.
All right. So the answer is false. John got that one wrong. Because
I just wanted to throw it off.
No, it's something different. I thought you wanted to win this week, man. So
I'm still gonna win. I'm keeping score.
Oh, there you go. All right, so it says AOC launches blistering attack on Amazon branding warehouse jobs as scams. So this is basically because they have people who work a full-time job, yet they are on food stamps and they're not making enough money, not enough benefits. So she just basically called this jobs scam. All right, so that's the end of this first round. Where we at, John?
It was a tie. First place, Carlito and Easy, and then second place,
Carlito, Easy.
Myself.
All right. So we're gonna go.
We said in second place. You and I tie second.
Okay. I see you after.
I'll give a second. I won't say last. So.
All right. So we'll see. We got one more round left. So we'll see if you can come back and get that round. So, but next we're gonna go to Carlito's rapid fire. You know, at some point, maybe next year, we have a nice bumper where you show Carlito with the Carlito's way, and he's like shooting some guns and some special graphics, 3D graphics in the background, running fast. Yeah. So Carlito, take it away.
All righty. So the first article USPS finally releases Louis DeJoy's calendar, and everything's redacted. And when I say everything, I mean everything.
There it is. There's the graphic right there. Look at how much is redacted.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
they were investigating why, trying to get to the bottom of all the mail slowdowns before the election, and this is what they release because they're supposed to release it. Freedom of Information Act, government employee, but his office says that it's a private record, even though they did it on a government computer for a government job. Makes no sense.
I mean, obviously, like, if you have that much to hide, you're already guilty. At that point, you're already guilty.
It's just so funny because it's only the date or the time and then a meeting, the word meeting, everything else redacted.
But we know that, like, if you're an executive, you're not just gonna put meeting. You're gonna put who you're meeting with.
So the second story, Trump's Mar-a-Lago neighbors are taking legal action to try to force him to live elsewhere. So we know that Trump is thinking of going to Mar-a-Lago after he gets kicked out of the White House. But the neighbors found, they don't want to embarrass him pretty much. They're telling him, based on an agreement he signed in 1993 for the Mar-a-Lago, that nobody could live there more than 3 non-consecutive 7-day periods during 1 year. So they're trying to tell him, listen, we don't want to have to do this to you, so just don't come, because then now we want to pull the receipts. And a funny thing about it, I read that document, like a PDF of the document, and they had a section that says no kitchen or food preparation facilities in the suites. So I was thinking, man, that's worse than some college rooms, man. You can't even have a microwave in there. It's crazy. So the next story from the state of Georgia, Kelly Loeffler's Atlanta mansion, Descante, it's big if it has a name. If we got a name, it's called Descante. Mysteriously dropped in value by millions of dollars, giving her a tax cut of roughly $88,000. So her and her husband bought a house for $10.5 million in 2009, and that made him pay about $200,000 in taxes a year, in property taxes. In 2015, the couple spent almost $365,000 in renovations. Yet, in 2016, the value of the house dropped to $4.15 million, reducing the tax bill to just $90,000. I mean, how you spend $265,000 in renovations and your house drops in value by more than half?
Wow.
So not only do you do inside trading, now you also do tax evasion.
So they said there's nothing illegal, but they couldn't find any records, anything written down saying why it happened to go down, and the people that used to work there aren't there anymore. Wow. So very convenient.
I wonder what the records look like, the tax records look like for all the other properties in the area.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like that, man.
Exactly.
Probably her documents probably look like the Joy's calendar right now. So states report confusion as government reduces vaccine shipments while Pfizer says it has millions of unclaimed doses. How is that?
Yeah, so basically, we all know what's happening here, right? So the Trump campaign or the Trump White House is saying, we've ordered the vials and they're not being sent, and Pfizer's having issues with their deliveries. And Pfizer's saying, we literally have millions of vials sitting here in our warehouses and no one is claiming them. No one is asking for orders for them. And the states are begging, like, where are our vaccines? We need these vaccines. And so everybody's pointing the finger at somebody else, but anytime the finger from the White House is pointing at somebody else, we basically know it's their fault. So it's not really clear what's going on there, but there's obviously some issues with the federal government making the orders correctly, and we just have vaccines just sitting there now in warehouses in the millions.
Wow, crazy. That's nuts.
The Black children are 6 times more likely to be shot to death by police.
Yeah, this was a study that was done by the Children's National Hospital in DC, and they found that during their 16-year study period, 140 children died from police intervention, and of those, 113 involved firearms. So about 93% of the children killed were boys with the average age of 16. And the research found that Black children were 6 times more likely to be shot dead by the police than white children. And Hispanic children's risk of death was 3 times as high. So there's data to back it up when we talked about defund the police. The reason why, research like this.
It's also, when we talk about gun violence, it's often separated as a completely separate issue. Like police brutality is one issue and then gun violence is another. And I would really like to see folks start talking about the two in tandem, because police kill 1,000 people per year. And like, these are children, but and then overall, like 1,000 people per year, 10,000 people over a decade, like that's crazy. If we're not putting that as part of the conversation of gun violence, then like, what are we doing here? That absolutely needs to be a part of the conversation that we're having in this country around gun violence. And I don't understand, well, I understand why people keep it separate, but I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it'll get us the results of saving lives that we want.
Yeah, totally.
Next story. Prison reform activists take out full-page ad calling for NBA to oust Pistons owner Tom Gores. So, the NBA lately has been doing a lot for African-American community. All the teams are doing their individual things. Even Detroit Pistons saying they're doing some good things. But the owner of the Pistons owns a private equity firm, Platinum Equity, and they bought Securus Technologies in 2017. And Securus helps set the phone call rates for jail inmates to make phone calls to their families. And those charges can reach $15 for a 15-minute phone call. Definitely not a good look for the NBA.
Wow.
Next story. New York City Drivers Cooperative aims to smash Uber's exploitative model.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting story that I threw in the rapid fire. That first I heard that New York City taxis drivers, they have something called medallions, which allows them, like, is a license that allows them to be a taxi driver, and it can cost upwards hundreds of thousands of dollars for this medallion, and so much that they would pass it down. They were looking forward to passing it down to like generations to their kids so that they can use it. It's almost like a house where you buy a house and then when you die, you can pass down the house to your family. And as we see with Uber and these rideshare programs, they're totally like taking them out of their livelihoods and they're losing a ton of money. Here's one example. It says Muhammad, his income from driving has fallen by 2/3 to just $100 a day, and costs for disinfecting and other safety measures paid out his own pocket have gone up. They shared the predicament has allowed him to successfully recruit other drivers while they wait for hours at airports to get a fare. At the end of the day, you have no life, no security, no future, Hassan says. We realize that and we are suffering. So their plan is to start their own cooperative and is supposed to launch in the first quarter of 2021. And hopefully they're going to be able, their goal is to get 10% of the $5 billion New York City rideshare market. So I wish them a lot of luck. I'm always interested in cooperatives and people come together and not having one boss or one person at the top that just dictates and sucks up all the money. They can all share in the profits together.
I'm of two minds of this because, if you live in New York City and you try to take a cab and you live, I live uptown and you're downtown, you'd be lucky if they even stop for you, before the days of Uber. And then if they do, and then you tell them where you're going, they were like, yeah, we're not going past Central Park or something. And they don't want to go up and take you back home. So I was like, whatever. But as we know, Uber is kind of trash. So hopefully this is a happy medium where I could, not hate the yellow cabs and, because they were.
But that's the thing.
When Uber came to New York City and Lyft and all those people, man, at least I could get picked up. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing with they're going to create their own app as well. So it's basically like the best of both worlds where they're going to be able to, you're going to have an app, you can click on show them where you're going ahead of time so they can decide ahead of time if they want to come pick you up or not. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So what you think about that, Carlito?
Yeah. So this makes me, because, we fans of cooperatives here. So, this makes me, like them more, and hopefully that also, depending how they structure it, you have some other drivers, some diversity in the drivers, and they're able to, pick me up when I go.
Yeah. Hopefully they just don't copy and paste the yellow cab like recipe, Because if they do that, they definitely going to fail. They should try to see what works for Uber, what works, for the yellow cab. Try to convince that, and try to also think like, we know that you get in usually shouldn't have to pay $10 to just be stopped at a road.
Yeah, because I will want to support them because we know that a lot of these drivers are going bankrupt. Many have committed suicide because of those medallion issues. So I definitely want to support.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Fair, like Uber in certain places does not pick you up either. Like I've been in places where I've waited, like had to keep clicking it, and there's like, oh, there's no drivers around, or somebody would say like, oh, I'm picking you up, and then cancel. Had that happen to me like 5 times, like it would cancel 5 times in a row. And I think a couple of years ago there was some study that came out that drivers for Uber, sometimes if they saw that you were a certain race, because you have your picture on there, they would deny you if you were like a certain race. Like a study came out like maybe 2 or 3 years ago about that. So it's same problems, different format. I'd rather have the cooperative and problems of not being picked up are with both of them. So I'd rather at least have something nice so people aren't like you all said, starving or suffering in any way.
Totally. I'm curious to see how Uber or Lyft is going to respond to something like this. Like, are they going to try to sabotage it out the gate? Like, if they're looking to launch the first quarter of next year, that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be interesting to see if they try to prevent it, or if what they can do is like try to lower their prices. That's something that Amazon does. They did that with diaper.com, where they just lowered the prices of diapers so low, diapers.com could not compete. And it drove them literally to a point where Amazon just bought diapers.com. So I wonder if Uber's going to do something like that. Go ahead, Izzy.
At some point, legislation might have to take over. And, I've talked a few times on this show about the Puerto Rican Trump, Ruben Diaz Sr. in New York. As much crap as I give him, he the one good thing he does, a broken clock is right twice a day. The one good thing he does is he fights for the yellow cab unions.
Oh, nice.
And he's very like anti-Uber and Lyft as well.
Okay.
I don't want to give him credit for literally anything else, but writing legislation to try and balance that power out, because like you said, capitalism will just take over, and I mean they could just drive anybody out of the market at that point.
Gotcha.
All right.
Go ahead, Carlito.
So our last story in our not so rapid fire is the coronavirus vaccine could be the ultimate gateway drugs. Airlines and other industries are experimenting with digital equivalents of immunity certificates.
That's
up with that case.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that at all. That's like papers, please. That you to walk around, or from what I heard, to get on airplanes, they might be requiring this from you. And who knows? There was even rumors that if you want to go to your job, you have to show that you took it. So it's very sketchy. I hope we don't go in that direction, but at the same time, we do want everybody to be safe, right? So that's the conundrum right there, So.
Yeah, but I mean, if we want to make people safer, we can do better things than that, right? Like we can give people free healthcare, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So that our teachers are set up at home in a way and their students have the technology available, free broadband for all, that they can go to school from home in a safe place, and it's not, a huge burden on people. We can, pay, what my friend likes to say, I have a friend that I talk a lot about this stuff with, and he says, pay people to stay home. Right? Like we can do, like there are things that we can do that aren't as extreme as, like you said, bringing out papers that can help people stay healthy, that the government can do, and that people have been calling for quite some time now, and they haven't done it. So there's definitely steps we can take before we get that far.
Totally. Since we're at the end of the rapid fire, I just want to touch on the news today before we go to the last round of political trivia. And the news of today is that the $600 direct payments checks are going to be that COVID stimulus bill is going to be voted on today. And finally, Bernie, he did fight for $1,200. It went down to $600. But one thing I want to give recognition to Bernie for fighting, because at the beginning there was no direct checks, period. So it wasn't until he fought for the $1,200, and then you had Josh Hawley, I believe, the Republican, also senator, who was pushing for that $1,200 payment, and of course people in the House were trying to push for that. But it looks like today he announced that he's going to be voting. Bernie Sanders is going to be voting for this current bill because we know there's a lot of hurt out there. But yeah. So what does anybody else have anything to say about the bill being passed?
I think from what I heard, the best thing that is not in this bill is the corporate immunity. So we'll see if they try to sneak it in, but last I heard, that's not in there. So that's the part that I really didn't want to be there, regardless of what else happens.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just, I think Pelosi went in today and said a significant amount. But like, you have all these millionaires telling people what a significant amount is. Like, something is better than nothing. But we know that $600, a one-time $600, what is that going to do when you have people that are, getting ready to get evicted? You got, your student loan payments is coming to an end at the end of the year. Like $600 is not really going to do much. So it's crazy how we have, I think I sent a picture. I wasn't sure if we were going to share or not. Like you have all these millionaires and you have all these businesses getting all these PPP loan assistance, and people are fighting for $600. And then they like, well, you should be happy because at first was nothing. Like it doesn't make any sense to me.
Nah, totally. Go ahead, Imani.
Yeah, no, that's one pet peeve of mine is like rich people have no idea how far a dollar does or does not stretch. And I've had this experience in previous jobs where, I asked, my boss for a raise. And back then, this is before I worked at movement school. Now I get paid very well now and I have great benefits. But before in other jobs, I was paid around like $40K. And I was like, all right, well, I have 3 degrees. I'm a law student. And this is back when I was working for the federal government. Like I should get a raise. And I asked for a raise. And he was like, well, Imani, like 40K is actually good money. And I'm like,
wow,
what? But looking at him, the way he was saying it, he really felt that. And I think it comes from the kind of the idea that like, oh, poor people are poor because they just don't know how to manage their money. Like $600 really is a lot if you knew how to manage your money. And really, they just have no idea how far a dollar does or does not stretch. It's ridiculous.
I mean, people like Pelosi should know because that's only like 5 of her expensive ice cream cones or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that. The fact that she sit there today and talked about we made a great deal and people are going to get significant amount. Like I'm just looking at it. I'm like, this is the Speaker of the House. He's supposed to be the person that really is supposed to be fighting from the party. And then they sit there and they tell you that this is a significant amount. Like what is $600 going to do in New Jersey, New York, Virginia, those metro areas that are so expensive? $600 is not even a 1-bedroom.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
And mind you, it's like you said, a one-time payment and more than 6 months, I think, since the last time anybody got a payment. I mean, what do you really like? You're barely covering the cost of food over that time, not even. So it's a complete joke. And not even getting into all the hoopla and the nonsense with forced to vote or whatever that craziness. But I'll give David Dole a lot of credit because he's been covering this topic. And at the end of every video he does, he's been pushing for, the only way to really fix this problem, and I kind of agree with him, is a general strike. You're not going to get it by holding any vote. You're not going to get it by withholding any vote. The people as a whole, as a country, the labor unions in this country, I think the only way to really, really force this is through a general strike where we all decide, okay, we're not working for as a country until we get the payments that we deserve, just like every other country in the developed world is getting. I mean, $2,000 a month in Canada if you need it. I think it's like up to 87% of your original paycheck in Germany if you need it. So it's not unheard of. We should be getting that here in the U.S. And one of the best ways to force that, I agree with David Dole, is a general strike.
100%. I think that from what I remember, and this is Wikipedia, I saw in Wikipedia, Nancy Pelosi's number 5 as the richest person in Congress. So this person,
like that, I don't understand how you in politics and you're a millionaire and you're not, and quote unquote, you're not corrupt. They are all millionaires and they're telling people how they're, we all of a sudden Republicans care about the debt. They care about the deficit. They care about everything. But how do you tell? It's the taxpayer dollars. It's our money. It's people's money. You're going to tell them, but because they have so many millions, like look at my senator, Mark Warner from Virginia.
Oh my gosh.
$230 million. And he's like, a bipartisan deal. I'm so happy to get a bipartisan deal. He got $800 million for the metro. Nobody's writing metro. Like, and metro is so bad and everything like that. You need to get people's money. Like, they always talk about the economy. If people have money in their pocket, they're not going to save it. They're going to expend it. But what is $600 going to do? It's not going to do nothing.
And when we do that general strike, which I hope we get to that point, we got to aim for the fences. Like, I want $2,000 a month UBI per person, and we want retroactive pay back to the first direct payment. So that's going back to those months. I believe it was maybe February or March that we got that first direct payment. Right after that, every month. So that should be like $14,000 to help pay for back rent. Because when the rent moratorium comes back on, they're looking for all that rent money from all the past months. So we need a retroactive amount of money coming back. That's about $14,000, then $2,000 a month moving forward until COVID is over. Go ahead, Izzy.
No, I completely agree with you. And we want billionaires to pay. We want billionaires to pay their fair share after they've made all their riches throughout this entire pandemic. They should be helping out with this 100%.
Exactly. Any last words before we move on? All right. We're going to move on to round 2. Right. So the first question of round 2 is: elect Cori Bush, BLM activist, gets rejected for a seat on powerful House Judiciary Committee. Is this true or is it false?
False.
Izzy?
False.
Are you sure about that answer?
I think.
So there's no true here that this is true? There's no truth?
I said false.
Everybody said false. Boom. Yeah. It is false. Okay, did you guys hear about this? I'm just curious. Everybody guess.
No, I knew about it. I was trying to get Carlito to mess up.
Try to bait him.
Take me down.
Try to bait him.
All right.
So this is true that it's false, but she lands a seat on a powerful House Judiciary Committee, which is interesting. I thought I would be able to get people with this because unfortunately AOC just lost out on getting a committee seat. And so this is going to be interesting to see what Cori does with that power, with that voice. And I know she's going to do well. All right, next question.
How did she get a seat?
She did not lose. She did not lose. She got punished for calling out the establishment.
Oh, that's what you think it was? Everybody agrees?
It was a punishment. It wasn't like...
Yeah. You think that article that she did with The Intercept directly correlates to that vote? Or was it more than that?
Oh. Well, it just added fuel to the fire. They already didn't like her.
Okay.
I think it's all of it. I think it's all of it. Because that's what establishment Dems do. Like, even here... statewide, if folks don't listen to leadership, they get punished by being not put in chair positions or just not getting their bills put up. It's what they do. It's
totally
ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous to have. Like, it's not a gang, it's government.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so next question. Robert E. Lee statue removed from the U.S. Capitol this morning will be replaced by one of civil rights icon Barbara Johns. And that happened today. All right, true. Imani?
False.
Imani? All right, Izzy?
False.
Carlito?
I haven't heard. I don't even know. I'm going to say false, but I don't know. I didn't know about this.
So John is the only one that said true, and it's true. Yeah, Robert E. Lee statue removed from U.S. Capitol. And then within the article, it does talk about Barbara Johns, who will be taking over a civil rights leader. She will be getting a statue in place. And the Virginia governor, he was really stoked about well, he approved it and he was pushing for this. All right.
It's a three-way tie on the top.
Let's go. Next question. Congress crams language to criminalize online streaming meme sharing into 5,500 page omnibus bill. And this kind of deals with what we just talked about, our little conversation about the COVID stimulus, because they put in the omnibus bill and the stimulus package together, and they just revealed it at 2 p.m. and they're going to vote on it tonight. Like, how you read 5,500 pages? I just don't understand how you vote for that. I couldn't vote for that. I'm sorry. What you guys think?
True.
I say true.
I'm gonna say true.
True.
All right.
That
yeah.
Copy my answer, man. We gotta do this anonymously.
Yeah, I know, right? yeah. We're gonna bring back. I think it's called quizzes.com. We're gonna bring back
the last question. You gotta go in. You could say a wager.
Uh oh. Yeah, so this is a very curious thing that if it really gets passed, criminalizes online streaming, what people could go to jail for, I mean, people have been pirating videos, movies for a long time now, and then meme sharing, like just what 5 seconds of a Netflix, movie, you're gonna get in trouble for now. Like, what you guys think about that?
I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, why are we putting? I mean, after all this conversation about the criminal justice system over all these years,
Yeah.
our response to what people streaming is put more people in jail. I mean, like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If somebody streams something because Comcast lost whatever bit of their, whatever small percentage of their millions and billions of dollars, it's ridiculous.
Totally.
Priorities.
Totally. Yep. Final question. Justice Democrats, Sunrise Movement applaud the latest economic council pick by Biden as a major win. True or false? I should have put his name here, but if it is true or false.
Wait, false.
I'll say false.
False. John.
I'm gonna go with true for the win.
Okay, Imani. She waited last because she knows the answer to this one. Let me see.
I'm gonna pass. And who has the least points right now? Who has the least points? Oh, me? Do I have the least? Who has the
Everybody's tied.
Everybody's tied, so that's why I went with true for the win.
Oh, dang. Okay, all right. I'm gonna skip this question. But if John gets
this is the last question, though.
He can have my point. If John gets it right, he can have my point. That's what I'm going with.
Damn, this is killing us.
So
all right. Carlito at the top 1%.
So the answer looks like John has won. He is true. It is true, and this is a person that was actually on a list that I was promoting or try to promote on Twitter. Is in my profile, and it's the Data for Progress Progressive Cabinet Project. And here is the person, Bharat Ramarudi, and he is an economic advisor, and he just got picked, and he was definitely praised. And I mean, I gotta give it to, and I know I might get hate for this, I don't know, but I gotta give it to Biden. Out of all the bad things that we hear about, we got Pramila Jayapal. No, I'm sorry, not Pramila. What's her name? Deborah Haaland.
Interior Secretary.
Yes, Haaland, and she's in the cabinet. And then there's like 4 other people in sub-cabinet positions. And now this is a new person in the sub-cabinet position that was on the Progressive Cabinet Projects list. Now, I know some people said that, and I've looked at the list totally, and there are a couple questionable people that was in there. But I think for the most part, that's better than, let's say, if Michael Bloomberg was the Democratic nominee and then he became president. Do we think that any progressive pick would be in a Michael Bloomberg administration? You know what I'm saying? So what you guys got to say?
Yeah, well, that's basically the same thing we're saying with the stimulus, right? Well, we got $600. So.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of too early to tell, because I think right now he's playing strategy. He's playing like, I'm going to give the centrist a little bit what they want, I'm going to give the progressive a little bit what they want. But I'm interested to see how it actually plays out with people in these positions. Like, are they going to continue to govern or, pass down regulations, what have you, in a way that speaks to progressivism, or is it going to speak to Bidenism and more centrist tastes? I think it's a little bit too early to tell, but I see the strategy.
Yeah, that's interesting take. Go ahead, Carlito.
Yeah, I think my opinion of this is, I tell anybody who's ever enraged by any centrist or kind of right-wing pick from Biden, why are you surprised? It's Biden. This is what we expect. I mean, we're supposed to still fight for what we want, but don't act surprised when he, it's Biden. Come on, it's not Bernie, it's Biden. So yeah, don't be surprised. But do be glad that we're getting at least a little bit here and there, and fight for more, most definitely. But don't act surprised when he picks, a centrist person in any position, because it's Biden.
Yeah, I was even thinking, I wrote a note for myself that maybe for the next show, I want to, when Biden's full cabinet has come to fruition and we see all the picks, I want to do a case study where you look at his picks versus Obama's first year cabinet picks, and to see
he just recycled Obama cabinet.
Yeah, but my point is I want to see how many people that you could even claim progressivism, you know, like how we have Deborah in there for Interior Secretary. Like, was there anybody in Obama's cabinet? Like, I think Biden hasn't picked a Republican yet, right? Has he?
No, but I remember what department. I saw a headline today that he was considering a Republican for one position today.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Matter of fact, out the gate, we were concerned that he was going to pick a couple of Republicans. And at this late part in the game, I think we have so much pressure on him from the black leaders in his ear and the progressives in his ears, and then reporters are asking him. You know, he had the interview with Kamala and him, and they asked him, "Hey, are you going to satisfy the progressives?" So, and they're like, "Wait, just give us some time," you know. And then here comes Deborah appointment. So I would be totally satisfied, even though I'm conflicted if I want Bernie in the cabinet. If Bernie became Labor Secretary, that would be interesting. But I think he's more useful as a senator.
Yeah, I want him wherever he has the most power that he can actually wield.
Yeah,
right? Like, I don't know if as Labor Secretary, like in theory, right, he would know the job, he would know what to do, know the right things to do. But the question then becomes, how much power will he be allowed to actually wield in that position? So I wonder about that.
Very true. And look what he just did with helping people at least get a $600 direct payment check. I don't think he could do that as secretary or inside the cabinet. You have to go along with what the administration wants. You have to play more of a team player, be more of a team player once you get in the administration. So, but I'll be curious or interested to see who at least takes that labor spot. Yep. All right. Any last words before we move on? I think that's it. All right. We're going to go on to the first topic of the day, the first segment.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right? we got about, another 12 minutes or so. But don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. That's the name, how I'm starting off this topic. And basically it's about a huge study, 50 years of tax cuts for the wealthy suggests trickle-down economics makes inequality worse. And let me bring up the article here. So this is it from Business Insider by Grace Dean. And here's this crazy guy, Trump. And basically what this is about, supporters say tax cuts for the rich can lead wealthy people to put in more hours and effort at work, boosting economic activity. The research said, that's what the researchers say. Other arguments for trickle-down tax cuts include that they allow wealthy people to invest more money and benefit the economy. Like, to me, they just hoard the money, put it in their banks, put it overseas in tax shelters, and just suck up that economic energy and that economic power and leaving the rest of us with crumbs. What do you guys think?
So,
of course,
for clarification, they said that taxing rich people less makes them work more.
That's what people before the research. That's what they said before the research. The research proved them.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't think that's correct. Who did that study?
Yeah, I know, right? Yep.
Well, what's interesting though, Imani, to that, in line with that point, they also said that so these results were in line with another 2014 paper, which did a similar study, same results, obviously, because duh. And it also suggested that lower taxes for the rich cause the rich to seek pay raises. So you give them less taxes, and what do they want? Even more money.
More money.
They actually go for more money when they're getting taxed less. Mm-hmm. So it just blew my mind that it's like, any little inch you give them, they're gonna take a mile every single time, and that's why we have the income inequality that we do in this country.
Yeah, totally.
And we've seen it historically with taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. When you tax them high, they do not want to give the government money. So what they do then is to invest it in their companies, because they rather do that than just give it to the government. So high taxes actually does the opposite of high in taxes does what they think low taxes do, because they don't want to give the money away, so they just invest it. If you give them lower taxes and you give them more money, there's no amount of money that you're going to give a millionaire that's going to make them create jobs if there's no demand for the whatever products they make.
Yeah, and then it's also, like, what do we mean when we say create jobs? It's always interesting to me, all of these programs where we bring businesses to underserved communities and we create jobs. But like, do people have full benefits? Are people being paid a fair and livable wage? Like, just because you employ somebody, what does that fully mean? How many people do you have to employ in order to get the actual tax cut, right? These are all things that have to be considered. It's not as simple as let's just give a blanket tax cut and let the rich, they'll just go in there and fix everything. Because like, obviously they won't. We know they won't. We've seen this movie before, and we need to start getting specific if we're going to have these programs at all. I mean, personally, I think we should tax the rich, because I just don't personally believe that people are going to operate out of the goodness of their heart, and that's why we need government in the first place. But if we have to have this, we have to have those conversations about what does that mean to create jobs? What does that look like? What do these jobs actually give the community? Are jobs even going to people in the community, or are they going to people who take public transit or drive to work and live, in the suburbs somewhere off in yonder, and people from the actual neighborhoods that we're saying we want to help, are they even getting those jobs, right? There's just so much that has to go into it. We can't, like, I just hate it when people say they're going to bring jobs. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, totally. I read a little excerpt of a study. It was from the Congressional Research Service on real wage trends between 1979 and 2018. And we know throughout these years, tax cuts, the Reagan years, tax cuts. Well, what they found was the real wages rose at the top of the distribution, whereas wages stagnated or fell at the middle and the bottom. And after adjusting for inflation, today's average hourly wage just about the same purchasing power as it did in 1978. So, you give them tax cuts and the people, it's not trickling down at all. The people have the same purchasing power they have in 1978. So it's really like they never got any money after all.
Yep. In the article, they start to go into, well, now that we're in this dire situation that we're in all across the world, it's not just the U.S. And by the way, this study covered, I think it was 18 different nations. So it wasn't just the U.S. as well. Showed the same thing across all these countries. But they start talking about how, we're getting in these dire straits, and now countries are starting to wake up and say, okay, well, we need this money now. We need to pay for PPE. We need to pay for our pandemic response in general. Like, where are we going to get it from? And so Argentina, for instance, just I think a week or two ago, enacted a one-off millionaire tax. So they're basically saying, anybody who makes over, I forget what the amount was, has to pay this tax, and they're hoping to raise almost $4 billion off of that. And it's only, I think it's 1 out of every 100 people are going to end up paying that tax in Argentina. So it's, we're really talking about the top of the top here. The UK is floating around the same thing. Which they're hoping to raise about 260 billion pounds over 5 years. And then even here in the US, not that we're doing it because we're dumb, but there was a petition from 83 millionaires here in the US. Well, it included some people internationally too, but starting with like the Ben & Jerry's founder, Jerry Greenfield, Disney heiress Abigail Disney, asking for the government to tax us, please. They're saying, please tax us more. There's only so much we can do through donations. We need to give the money to you guys, so please tax us more. Yeah. And we still can't even get them to do it, even when the millionaires are begging us to. It's incredible.
I think you got to think about who's doing the law. That's what was the topic that we talked about earlier. You have millionaires creating laws, so they're not going to create laws to tax themselves. Like, it's not going to happen. So except for
our one guy, Bernie Sanders, who all the way back in August floated the Make Billionaires Pay Act, which would have taxed 60% of the increase in the ultra net wealthy's net worth from the beginning of the pandemic until now.
Yep.
Obviously he's been pushing to say, okay, if you're making all these billions, like we talked about before, off of the pandemic itself, you need to pay. So there is one legislator who's trying to push for that. And to your point, all the other 100 millionaires in Congress are, they're going right along with what you said.
Yeah. I think
there's a.
Go ahead, Carlito. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to talk. There's a video. Imani, but privately in our WhatsApp chat, I share a video, little clickbaity, but it said that raising taxes does not improve wealth inequality. And it was a study, I can't remember the country, it might have been Denmark. But it was a little clickbaity because they didn't say income inequality, they said wealth inequality. And what they said was basically that they use, it's a high tax country, a lot of these European Nordic countries, very high tax, but the wealth increased for a lot of people, but that's only because, they have generational wealth. They don't need to work. It's money that's invested. They grow and grow and grow. So the inequality grew, so the wealth inequality grew, but they did tax heavily. And what did improve was the income inequality. And they have a high, strong safety net for the people that cannot work or the people that fall into poverty to help them out. Everything that we ask for here that we don't have, whether it's subsidies for housing, poverty, universal health care, they have all that because of those taxes. So maybe they don't have a lot of money, sometimes even, negative wealth when they look at their net, but they're not dying from bankruptcy over, health insurance bill or anything like that. So, it was a little clickbaity, but at the end, basically it was like, just tax them. Because, you're just going to have at least the bottom is going to come up. What they say, like, was a rising tide raises all boats, whatever. Well, tax money raises all boats.
Totally. I think that those millionaires that want to be taxed, I think they have the right attitude, because the majority, the millionaires, the Koch brothers, and these people that are in power or have a lot of influence right now, they're just trying to get as a power grab, money grab, get as much money as they can. But these millionaires, they know that we need to at least give the people something so that they don't come for everything. Because you look at AOC's, she had a suggestion a while back that blew up and everybody freaked out, that she said we should be taxing at 70%, over 10, I think it was 70% over $10 million that we should be taxing. And at this point, people are going to become more and more radicalized as we see inequality continue to grow. And as we see people continue to suffer, people getting kicked out of their houses, somebody's going to suggest 90%. One other thing before we move on, there's a video that went viral recently. A reporter was out in the field and a Trump supporter just came up out of nowhere. He owned that business that he was in front of. And he said, hey, I don't mind if you guys just pay me and I'll go home, but you can't not pay me and then expect us to shut down our businesses. Matter of fact, they should be paying us $10,000 a month. And we would just go home, because he was citing rightfully the trillions of dollars that went to corporations. He said you guys could have paid us $10,000. I was like, wow, that's more than we're asking for $2,000 a month, and here's a Trump supporter asking for $10,000 a month. So that's the guillotine, not physically but metaphorically, is coming for these millionaires and billionaires, man.
I mean, they put a guillotine outside of Bezos' house.
Yep.
I was all for that. I was a part of that move.
Metaphorically, of course.
Yeah,
All right,
totally.
Of course.
Yeah, right.
We got to put that disclaimer in there. All right, any last words before we go on to the next topic?
Yeah, I got one last thing. We talk about trickle down not working, but one thing that does work is trickle up. So I read this article, it was talking about the Nonpartisan Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. Every $1 increase in SNAP benefits, that we call food stamps, generates about $1.70 in economic activity. And on average, $1 billion of retail food demand by SNAP recipients generates 3,300 farm jobs. So that's how you have the job creators right there. You help out the poor in the bottom, and it increases economic activity and trickles all the way up.
100%. So what you think about this topic, let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. All right, the next topic: why are billionaires doing the job that the government should be doing? And this story is about Mackenzie Scott, who has donated more than $4 billion in the last 4 months. And if you don't know who Mackenzie Scott is, she is the ex-wife of Jeff Bezos. And when they got a divorce, here's the article, she received, I believe, a ton of the wealth. Let me see. She received 4% stake in Amazon, then valued at $37 billion amid the stock market's pandemic boom, and those shares would now be worth $62 billion. I mean, it's just crazy. Before I continue on with the article, anything you guys want to say about this?
You could continue, and then we'll.
Okay, all right. So I'll say the next part. So basically, what we're talking about, where she is doing the job of government, she's been donating a lot of money. And so, for example, to Morgan State University, a historically black university in Baltimore, and she sent them $40 million. And then Scott also gifted 43 YMCA associates and YMCA of the USA, and giving them money. And you know, they create after school programs, and they have indoor gyms and pools and community programs. And then also Melissa Berman, CEO of the Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisory, told Bloomberg that Scott's nearly $6 billion in donations this year has to be one of the biggest annual distributions by a living individual to working charities. Now, she started off as Jeff Bezos, as Amazon's secretary. I believe it's set up here.
It was their
or the financial. I'm sorry. There we go. Accountant. And the first accountant, here it is. And man, so she started off with these humble beginnings, and now she's given more than even Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is out there busy trying to create, you know, tourism in space, and you know, just playing with his money, you know, having his own island. And here's his wife just totally putting him to shame. What you guys think?
Yeah, but she was there from the beginning, though. Like, she wasn't like, let me marry this rich guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. She was the very first accountant of Amazon, so that's at the very early stages.
But they were even married even before he started Amazon. Like they drove out to Seattle together. They did it together. She was part of all that.
Wow.
She should have gotten more than 4%.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, when I read this at first, I was like, man, she must be like the Bizarro Bezos. Like she's gonna do the opposite of everything Jeff Bezos does, and she might, you know, be doing all the good that Amazon should be doing in the world. And then I read more about who she actually is. She's a very private person, so that it's hard to find out a lot about her. But I guess they have like an amicable divorce, and everything is fine between them. So she's not going to be taking down Amazon anytime soon, even though I was kind of hoping she would.
Yeah, I was thinking you sound disappointed about that. Like, oh,
I am very disappointed. I am the biggest Amazon hater, certainly on this show, if not everywhere.
Understandable.
So I thought she was going to be, but you know, she's straight out worth more than $50 billion, and she has basically dedicated. She's already said, I want to give away all my wealth, literally all of it.
Wow.
So you know, there was one point in the article where they said, for this round of donations, Scott said she asked her team of advisors to help her figure out how to give more money away faster. So she's asking people, how can I give more money away even quicker than I already am? So she's doing the good work, but unfortunately, as long as Jeff Bezos still exists and Amazon still exists, man.
You know, depending how much stock she still has, she made more money during the pandemic that she gave away. So I don't feel like
yeah, like I don't want to get too much on giving her props, because she's worth, I believe, $55 billion, and she gave away, and then that's the number after she gave away $4 billion, right? Yeah. So it's just like, I mean, do you want to give away all your wealth? Because you could do it right now. Like you could just go full throttle and do it right now. Like, what are you waiting for?
Well, so I agree with you, and you know, I'm anti-capitalist. I'm anti-Amazon. I'm anti-wealth. I'm anti all of it. But it would, at least according to the article, and again, she's very private, so it's hard to figure out a lot of this info. But she basically put a team together, people to say like, who are the best people we can give this money to now, so that they can do something with it now. She gave it to them with no restrictions. All these organizations that she donated to, she just said, here's tens of millions of dollars, do whatever you want with it. I'm not even going to say you have to do something specific with it. But I think what she just wants to do is she just wants to make sure that the money's going to the right places at the right time, considering the pandemic, considering, you know, the state of this country when it comes to race relations. So I'm assuming she's going to continue doing that, and she's going to continue giving away this money at record numbers. I think I think Case even quoted in the article where they said that, you know, she's giving away record amounts that no woman in history has ever given before. Yeah, so, and I think she's going to continue to do that. I agree. I hope she sticks to her promise, but so far it looks pretty promising what she's able to do.
Yeah, she's putting all the billionaires to shame for sure. and man, well, before I start again, not on her specifically, but this whole billionaire thing. That's why the title is "Why Billionaires Doing the Job the Government Should Be Doing." You know, I like the part that it has no strings attached. But one thing that I wanted to mention that I give it props to is spending all this money where she is, down on the ground, the trickle up that we were talking about earlier. Because one argument that I heard for her not doing it the way she's doing it is she will have more money to give if she would have created some kind of foundation that would, some trust that will make money off the stock market or something, and then give some money every year. And I'm completely against that because you might have more money overall to give, but that's like a vanity project for a lot of billionaires. It's something for them to have their name given out every year to something and keep their name in the headlines even after they're dead. When you make more of a bang by giving the money now, because if you only give like a certain percentage, enough that you could still be making profit on your foundation to give more next year, there's a lot of people that are going to be suffering.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you could help them now instead of letting them suffer for however many years until you give them their money. Meanwhile, if you help them now, these people, if it's somebody, let's say you're helping people out of poverty, they could help them, HBCUs, they get their education with no debt. They're able to become a productive tax-paying, person in this economy. It multiplies, the multiplier effect. So you help them now, and then they're able to help even more from what they make themselves, because you help them, help get the degree for, as an example.
So two things I would say to that. One is that we're in the middle of a pandemic. They need the help now. Forget about 10 years, 5 years down the road. And secondly, she's already worth $55 billion. How much more you want to turn that into? You know what I mean? Like she can give away enough right now that she can help everybody in this entire planet. I mean,
she started with 37.
Oh, only 37. Yeah.
No, I mean, she's been giving it away and she's already up to 50. So keep giving.
Yeah, give now. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you there.
I even want to see more than that. Like, I don't want to just have her do these, like, look at me, I'm just a nice person, I'm giving these away. Like, with that type of money, you could run the craziest ad campaign talking about millionaires and billionaires need to be taxed. Like, she could really like hit the ground and be like, not only should I be taxed, but everybody else should be taxed. She could pay the top lobbyists with that money to go do that in DC. She could fund progressive campaigns so we can get real progressives in there who want to tax millionaires and billionaires. She could run the craziest digital ad campaign on the planet to actually get that done. Like she gave 40 million. So part of me maybe is a little bit salty about this too. So I'm a double Howard grad. She gave only 40 million to Howard University, only 40 million. To compare that to schools like Harvard, they have about like a $1 billion endowment. So like 40 million is nothing. She should have made them even with schools like Harvard and Yale that have built their wealth off of slave labor. Like that's what I want to see. Like I want to see full throttle. I don't want to see you giving away like $4 billion and being like, oh, look at me, I'm such a saint. Like do the full throttle thing. Like I want to see you go all out. I want to see you be louder than Bernie on this.
Imani, we're here because I've had actual daydreams of this. Like if I was like a billionaire, I mean, the first thing I would do is buy a basketball team. Of course,
running for president.
But then the second thing, I imagine just ramming every candidate I like through Congress, man. Just putting my money into every. We have 100, Cory Bush senators right now. If it was up to me, if I had the money, that's what I think about. That she could be doing with that money. If she really care, but I think she knows where her bread is butter. She knows where her money came from. She's still. Capitalist at the heart of it, in my opinion. So, we'll see, because he could be doing what Izzy said.
I agree with you, Imani. You make some great points. I mean, we definitely want to see her do more. And we were talking about daydreams, right? I was daydreaming that she would actually really take down Amazon with that money somehow, some way. She would completely smear them and just take them down single-handedly. She probably has no desire to do that, but she could easily, when you think about funding progressive campaigns, she could do so much with that. I can't agree with you more. And I don't know. Let's see what happens. Maybe she can actually make it happen.
Her money's in Amazon stock, so she can't do that. She have to sell it first before she takes them down.
Yeah, but so say she sells all that money right now and then just gives it to a whole bunch of Amazon employees and say, here, go to the streets and talk about all the wrongdoings that Amazon has ever. Dude, I've dreamt this up like you wouldn't even imagine. Just like you dream about your basketball team. I've dreamt up so many scenarios where
just the first hour of my dreams, then I move on.
Yeah, Chris Smalls. Go ahead, Imani. Go ahead.
To put this into perspective, right? So New Jersey is considered like an expensive market to run for office. And let's say if you run for a congressional seat, you need between like a good safe spot is between 1 to 3 million. That's like safe, right? Now imagine if she just sold $1 billion worth of stuff. And New Jersey is an expensive market, right? How many progressive campaigns across the country just off of 1 billion she could fund? Off of 1 billion, right? Like that's what I want to see. I want to see her not only just keep, because really when she gives away that money, she's keeping the power in her hands, right? I want her to empower other people to then be able to say, okay, we're going to take a little bit of that power that you're hoarding and spread it around. Like that's what I want to see her contribute to.
Nice. Okay.
Like,
Okay.
if you are a Political Junkies fan, if you are watching right now and you are in the chat, listen up. Imani has some great ideas for you.
Yeah, I totally agree. I saw that a figure today that I retweeted on Case Study QB that I believe it was CNN put up, that the amount of money that the ad money, and I think I wanted to make this a trivia question too, true or false, $438 million in the Georgia runoff alone. And Carlito, who's in Georgia, you probably see all of those ads.
Oh my God, you should see my mailbox, man.
Go ahead.
The answer is true.
Yeah,
I mean,
so exactly.
You made it too easy, man.
I know, right? But basically, yeah, that's the amount of money that is going into 2 Senate races, and that's about $500 million. We need a senator, Justice Democrat, or a senator outside of Bernie. We need that strong person. I know they ran people in the past, and unfortunately, they haven't won. But I would love to see at some point a progressive, a squad Senate member. And it's going to take money. Unfortunately, it's going to take a lot of money, especially depending on how big the state is. We went at, I believe they had somebody in Delaware who ran, I think, a brand new Congress. I think Jessica Scarrain, I believe. And that's a smaller market. It's a small geographical area. And she didn't make it, unfortunately. She lost to Chris Coons.
She raised 800,000 and he raised 5 million.
There you go.
With that?
You can't compete with that. So, I mean, now you can't, we would have to galvanize the people. AOC did it. She raised 10 times the amount of Crowley. But the thing is, it was a small demographic. She really put her shoes and wore her shoes out, literally walking the streets and knocking on doors.
Well, we're going to see, because she got money, man. She raised
No.
money,
I'm talking about, wait, Izzy, what did you say?
I didn't think she raised that more money than Crowley like that. Not 10 times.
No, not at the beginning. No, she destroyed him. Like the first time around, she did, but this time around, she got money. And
this time around. So let me clear myself up. This time around, she had more money than of course, she had more money than person. But I mean, the first time she ran, I believe Crowley had like millions of dollars, and she didn't. She had like maybe 100,000. No,
she didn't have millions of dollars.
No, not her. Crowley. Crowley had millions. That's what I'm saying. She was outspent. I think it was like 10 to 1. That's the point I was trying to make.
Oh, I thought you said she spent more 10 to. Okay, yes.
No. Yeah. That's the point I was trying to make. And in Delaware, I don't think they have that much of a TV market. It's smaller. Like that's probably, if we were to target a Senate seat, it would have to be a smaller, like Maine. We had the Green Party candidate, and now they got ranked choice voting in Maine. That should be a target moving forward for progressives. Like we should really try to find out how we can infiltrate Maine and get a senator out of there. The Democratic person that lost to the Republican, her name escapes me. I know you guys know her name. I can't think of her name.
Collins.
Oh my God.
John's favorite.
Exactly. I know John. How did we lose to Susan Collins? Like, so we got to find a way. Yeah, I don't get what Imani, you got any insight on that race or anything?
I mean, of all the races that we lost this past cycle, it's about how people are doing their outreach, how people are doing their video, how people are talking and engaging with voters. And 100%. Some of these old techniques that people swear by and that they just like pass them down from generation to generation do not work. And there are a bunch of progressive campaigners, right, who have talked about this, that, we just switch up a few things and who we're doing outreach to, and the types of things that we're saying in our messaging. Otherwise, if we keep doing what we know does not work simply because of God knows what, probably just arrogance, we're gonna lose. And by we, I mean I actually don't mean progressives. I mean we large umbrella Democrats.
Totally. I agree with the new DCCC chair, who said that he's getting rid of the blacklist that basically crowded out all the progressive people that were supporting progressive challengers. He's going to welcome them in because he knows they have the latest digital technology. They know they are ahead of the time with what they're doing, with their mailers, with their ad buys, and he's going to embrace them instead of trying to kick them out. And I'm going to be really curious and watching him to see how much, if as a progressive, what I would want from the DCCC is to just stay out of the primaries. Let the primaries go where they may, whether it's the progressive that wins or whether it's the moderate that wins, but don't put your finger on the scale or your thumb on the scale. Let it play out. And then when the person wins, then you could jump in with your money and with all the support. But what we've seen in the past is how the DCCCs and the DNC in the presidential primaries, they do a lot of underhanded stuff to help their candidate. And then at the end of the day, that candidate is the weak person that goes up against the Republican and loses. As we saw that with, we could have had Charles Booker instead of the other person that was there. And he would have been a much better, he would have went after Mitch McConnell and just said $15 an hour alone. That policy alone, Mitch is not for $15 an hour. Mitch is not, all he had to do was repeat that in the debates, in his ads, and he would have won. But the candidate,
Charles Booker, in exchange for Amy McGrath.
Amy McGrath. See, Carlitos falls asleep right. So we go ahead. But my last point, and I'll throw it to you, Imani, is basically we just need the best candidate to go up against the Republicans so that we can have the strongest candidate. Go ahead, Imani.
Yeah, but one thing I am a little bit cautious of, because I honestly think we're about to start seeing this, is when the establishment starts putting up, again, like I said at the beginning of this show, progressive cosplayers. And that's people who are young, maybe people of color, who can speak the vernacular. But at the end of the day, they will cave to old, the old guard and the old leadership.
Like Richie Torres.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
And so I'm hesitant. Like I'm glad that this was done as far as the blacklist, but I'm interested to see how they wield it, because I don't think that was done for the goodness of the progressive movement. Like,
totally.
I put my life on the line to bet that that's not what it was for.
No, we have to have a short-term solution and a long-term solution, right? Because we know long-term is not going to work. Like you already seen it with when it comes to raising money, right? They create their super PAC and they're like, oh, my donation average is $43 a person. And you're like, no, it's not, because you're getting millions and millions donations from this other super PAC. So they already took that fundraising idea out of it. They would tell you, yes, I believe in healthcare, it's right, but they never say it's Medicare for all. But then they would tell people like, oh yeah, I am for Medicare for all, but they don't put it in there. They would tell people.
Oh, cutting out. He cutting out. But yeah, to that point, like Colin Allred, I made a whole case study of Colin Allred, who was a Justice Democrat, and he was for Medicare for all before when he was running as a challenger. And then once he got into the general and got into Congress, he dropped Medicare for all. Like there was an article that said, oh, here are a list of some people that had cold feet, that got cold feet on Medicare for all. And he endorsed Julio Castro, and then he endorsed Biden. So he didn't have the benefites to be a Justice Democrat at all. Then Kara Eastman was somebody that I had in a trivia question in a past show as somebody who ran for, who had Medicare for all on their website when they first ran in 2018. And then in 2020, they had no Medicare for all. And there was one other person, Amir Khanamajab, I believe, in California. I think I butchered his last name, but he was also somebody that was for Medicare for all in 2018, and then he dropped it also. So these are the type of things that we've got to not only look out for, but like me, I'm about exposing people and letting them know, like letting the people know, hey, look, this is a person that was full Medicare for all before. Now they're not. And anybody else who's thinking about doing that, don't even think about it, because we're going to expose you. We're going to let people know who you are. And Colin Allred, I'm sorry, go ahead, Imani.
Yeah, one quick thing I will say is with the Kara Eastman stuff, that there's a lot more to that story. I actually don't know how much I'm at liberty to say because of my job, but I would say if you can get somebody on here who can kind of talk more about that campaign.
Okay.
That'd be,
well,
that'd be a great episode.
If you could point me in that direction of somebody that's willing to come on, I would definitely want to know, because I'm also about being fair. I'm not going to Jimmy Dore people, at all. I'm not out there to like just totally cancel people and call them out their name. I want people to explain themselves, because you know what? I learn, and the audience learns how it is to be a candidate. Maybe the pressures that come on. I would love to know if she did it for a right reason, whatever that right reason is. I mean, I can't imagine in the middle of a pandemic what a right reason would be to drop Medicare for all, but I would love to know the story behind that. So definitely that's something that we could talk about, or I'll be willing to check out. All right. Before we wrap up the show, any last words?
Yeah, I never even got to mention my biggest pet peeve with this whole thing of the billionaires, and it's the whole tax deductions that they get for giving money away. I really can't stand it. And as some of you know, I got a long argument with somebody over text about this, because first of all, like we said from the beginning, they're doing things that the government should do. So if we tax them, those charities don't need to be there. If these people want to be like good people and they're going to give money, they're going to give it away regardless, whether they got tax deductions or not, if they want to do it out of the kindness of their heart or whatever. But what really irks me is that a lot of billionaires, they use this money, they get tax deductions for use this money for nefarious reasons. Like we have all these fake grassroots organizations that are, funded by like the Koch brothers, for example. Not only that, they are funding chairs in some universities, to basically teach our kids about right-wing, mythology, about trickle down or whatever, because they endow a chair in a university, and then they basically got a veto power over who gets hired over that. They're using their money to just vanity projects, like I said before, to put their name on a building somewhere, give to Harvard that doesn't need money. Instead of a whole bunch of, one Harvard, you could fund like 100 community colleges for the same amount of money and do a whole lot more good. So, if they want to give money, they're going to give it regardless if they want to. But a lot of them are using them just to get their own little organizations going, their tea parties or whatever. And, I really can't stand it. To me, no tax deductions for charities, period.
I agree with that. And it's also vanity projects, because a lot of times they put their name, I think the Koch brothers have their name on the Metropolitan in New York City, like the building or whatever, and they get their name put in big display, and they're getting a tax deduction for that.
I mean, in the news now, the Sackler family, the opioids, they give a lot of money to the Met, and I guess a bunch of other like artistic endeavors.
Yeah,
and it's just to it's like money laundering their money. They're trying to make their name seem good, while on the other hand, all that money they're making it is by killing people.
Yeah. Also, like PBS, you see a lot of the shows at the end they'll say brought to you by this foundation and that foundation. That's another way that they're just, like you said, money laundering their money to make themselves have like goodwill towards their name. But yet they're doing a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes to make life for the average person a lot harder. All right. So I want to thank Carlito, John, Izzy, and Imani, our special guest, the first female. See, I was here saying, and the guys that I was so used to saying that. So I apologize at the end of the show for doing that. The wonderful lady, Imani Oakley from Progressive Democrats of New Jersey. She's representing. I'm gonna give the mic to you just to say any last words, any last promotion. Give another shout out to Jason Crushu.
Yes, please follow Jason Crushu on Twitter at Jason for Senate. You can find him on Facebook, Jason F. Crushu. And please follow PDNJ for all of our updates on all social media at PD, the letters PD of NJ. So again, that's at PD of NJ. You can keep up with Jason there. You can keep up with what our org is doing, and any other candidates that we come out with. So please follow us and donate to Jason. www.jasonforsenate.com. Go there and donate, because we are going up against the New Jersey machine, which is one of the most notorious machines in the country. We are going to need the funds. Please donate.
Yo, go hit up Mackenzie Scott.
There we go.
right. Yeah. She could start here.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. And with much progressive love, I hope to see you in the new year, 2021. We're going to come back stronger. Let us know if you have any suggestions for the show, anything you want to see, any type of segments. If you like the trivia, if you don't like the trivia, let us know. You can email me at CaseStudyQB@gmail.com. Let us know as we go on to the new show. And also, Imani has a show as well. Just shout that out real quick.
Yeah, so my show is called Upfront Now, in partnership with an organization called Eyes on NJ News. We typically go on every Monday at 5 p.m. We're going to be taking a break until the new year, but check that out when you can. You can check out all the episodes on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at the handle at Eyes on NJ.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Thank you, everyone. Have a great one.